Good morning dear students, warm welcome to our 18th online class. Today we will start our last module, electronic payment system. In today's session we will discuss about the meaning and definition of electronic payments and different features to be possessed by electronic payment and who are the participants in online payment and different methods of payment, that is prepaid and postpaid systems. Okay, so these are the topics to be discussed today. So let us start our topic, that is electronic payment system. First of all, in the traditional system, face to face purchasing is done by the customers. The customers visit the shop and select their product, and after the billing they will pay cash or check or use their debit or credit card. That is the system which is followed in the traditional method. But in the case of online payment, online trading, we must transfer our fund or the payment through an electronic system. That is an important one or important character in the case of e-commerce. So today we must study different methods or different ways of payment, electronic payment system. For this, first of all we must study what is the definition of electronic payment system. It is a financial exchange. We must know, for the electronic payment system means there is a payment. The payment is a financial exchange that takes place online, electronically transferred method, online between who are the users, the buyers and the sellers. So what is the definition of electronic payment system? It is defined as a financial exchange. It is a electronic payment is defined as a financial exchange that takes place online between buyers and sellers. So this is the definition. The content of this exchange, it is usually some form of digital financial instrument, that is the use. What are the digital financial instruments? Debit card, credit card, Visa card, all electronic checks or digital cash transactions. Likewise, the financial instruments is used for the financial payment system, that is in between the buyer and the seller, but there is an intermediary. Who is the intermediary? The financial institution or any bank which issues these types of electronical digital instruments. Who are they? Sometimes bank, sometimes HDFC, like different institutions, financial institutions, etc. So these intermediaries issue to their customers the different types of cards or electronical checks, etc. There must be, the intermediaries must be a legal tender or legal person. That is an important one. If there is an illegal person, the financial instrument is a illegal one. We can't use the illegal financial instrument for making a e-commerce transaction. Okay, so this is the introduction about the electronic payment. First of all, the definition. What is the definition? EPS is defined as a financial exchange that takes place online between the buyers and the sellers. Which is the use or what is the exchange? That is, the content of exchange is using digital financial instruments like debit card, credit card, Visa card, electronic checks, etc. It is issued by the intermediaries like the financial institution which are legally organized institutions. So this is about the introduction. Next one, we must discuss about the online payment systems. There are different methods or different systems are implemented by the different users for making the e-commerce transaction. Many virtual shops accept payments through digital cash, electronic checks or credit cards. These are the important financial instruments which is used by the customers and accepted by the sellers. Digital cash is an electronic version of actual cash, that is to be underlined in your textbook. Digital cash is an electronic version of actual cash. They become the main target of hackers all over the world, must misutilize or malpractice when we enter the electronic payment. So, we must get a protect or security from the sellers and the servers or the intermediaries to protect from the hackers. For this purpose, the buyers and sellers must accept that digital financial transactions should give a degree of confidence to the users. So, this is an important factor which is given by the sellers: protection, security, accessibility, reliability. These are the important factors to be protected or give protection, security by the given by the sellers. The users eager to get a protection or security from the sellers while they enter into a e-commerce transaction. Okay. So, what are the features of the payment methods followed? The different methods which are followed by the users or the sellers. There are many financial instruments is used by the users and sellers, but the features to be possessed while giving a financial instrument which is acceptable to the users and it is acceptable to the merchant. So, what are the features? First one, the accessibility, then next one convertibility, next one reliability, anonymity, flexibility, security, overhead cost, transferability and the divisibility. So, there are 9 features to be followed or to be get by the users and the sellers. Okay. So, we will discuss these features. First of all, first one is the acceptability. It is to be accepted by the buyer and the seller, or who are the persons enter into a transaction. They must accept the method which is or the financial instrument is selected by the sellers or the merchants, and it is also accepted by the intermediaries like the financial institutions also. So, this refers to whether the payment method is supported globally. It is supported globally, then many users can enter into the transaction. Okay. It should be available and accessible to all types of buyers and sellers. It should be honored and accepted by all banks and financial institutions. These are the intermediaries. So, the merchant's bank and the seller's bank must accept the methods which is accepted by the e-commerce organizations. Okay. Second feature, that is convertibility. The payment which is transferred by the buyer, it is to be converted as a fund to the merchant. So, it is important that funds represented by one mechanism be easily convertible into funds represented by others. It should be exchangeable with all forms of money, whether it is digital or traditional. The main method is it is to be transferred into monetary terms equivalent to the cash. So, the system must be easy to convert the fund into monetary terms. That is an important factor. Then the third one, that is the reliability. If it is a reliable one, it will attract the customers and easy to make a transaction by the merchants. So, the reliability is also an important factor. The payment system should provide confidence to the users. If they are not attracted by the user, they will does not give others to encourage to make a e-commerce transaction with that particular organization. Okay. So, the system which is adopted by the merchant, it must be reliable and attract the confidence of the users. The users should be safeguarded from all perils due to its failure of operation. give a protection or security to the users. So, it will leads to a reliable system. And the fourth one, that is anonymity. It refers to whether the payment model is anonymous or not. It is concerned with whether a third party can trace back who was involved in payment transaction. That is an important one. For some transactions, the identity of the parties to the transaction should be protected. It is attract the users. It should not be possible to monitor an individual's spending patterns nor determine one's source of income. That is none of the merchant's business to inquire about the personality or the financial soundness or financial background of the customers. They must concentrate on the email transaction. They get the payment, okay, leave it. Any other details of the customers does not interfere with the e-commerce transaction. That is an important one. So, the fourth feature is anonymity. Next one, the flexibility. We can easily flexible the transaction and the fund payment. Alternative forms of payments are needed in online payment environment. If one system is not accepted, then the users can choose another method. So, the system must be a flexible one. The payment instructions should support several payment methods, including instruments similar to credit cards, sometimes it may be a checks, and even anonymous electronic cash. That is an important one. The supporting system, it must be a flexible one. These instruments should be integrated into a common framework. It included in the common framework which is designed at the time of making a website. Okay. Next feature, that is the security. The payment method is secured. It will give a protection to the customers. In particular, whether it is easy to perpetrate different kinds of fraud such as forged payments. What is the meaning of perpetrate? That is illegal or immaterial action. That is the meaning of perpetrate. We does not encourage the perpetrate types of actions, that is illegal or immoral actions. It will lead to a forged payment, that is a fake payment. Does not encourage these type of fake payments done by the users or the customers. Does not encourage by the merchants. So, it will the merchants must give protection and security to the customers who are involved in the e-commerce transaction. Next one, that is the overhead cost. This refers to overhead cost of processing a payment. They does not make additional payments to the purchase by the e-commerce or online purchase. The next one, the transferability. This refers to whether a payment can be carried out without the involvement of a third party such as a bank. We does not approach any intermediary like any financial instrument for making an e-commerce transaction or the online purchase. So, the transferability, for the transferability we does not involve or include any third party like a financial instrument or any bank or any other person. Only the persons involved in the transaction, that is merchant and the customer or the buyer and the seller. Not involved, does not involve any type of third parties in the e-commerce transaction. To avoid different types of persons in the transaction, it will easy to make a transaction and it will be an effective and reliable one. Okay. The next one, the last one, that is the divisibility. This refers to whether a payment can be divided into arbitrary small payments whose sum is equal to original payment. What is the meaning here? That is divided into arbitrary, that is random choice. We must give more importance to the personal interest, does not influence or force to others to make a transaction. So, this is the divisibility. This refers to whether a payment can be divided into arbitrary small payments. which gives a random choice to the users and give a personal interest. We can select the debit card or credit card, Visa card, Rupee, etc. This will attract the customers to make a e-commerce transaction with that particular merchant whose sum is equal to the original payment. Okay. So, these are the features. I will give again the summary. First feature of the possession of the electronic payment, it must be effective. What are the features? Acceptability, convertibility, reliability, anonymity, flexibility, security, overhead cost, transferability, divisibility. Okay, clear. Next topic, we must discuss who are the participants in the online payment system. There are 5 participants in the online payment system. Who are they? The customer, the issuer, the merchant, acquirer, payment gateway and the processor. So, there are 6 participants in the case of online payment. First of all, we will discuss about the first participant, that is the customer. He is an important person. If there is no customers, there is no e-commerce. If there is no merchant, there is how different customers can choose another merchants. But if there is no customers to that particular merchant, there is no chance to make a e-commerce transaction. So, the important participant is the customer. Customer in the e-commerce may be holder of a payment card such as credit card or debit card from an issuer. If a particular e-commerce transaction is to be done, the customers are willing to purchase that particular product and also they have a capacity to pay the amount for that particular product. If there is only willingness, there is no capacity, there is no e-commerce transaction. So, a demand is to be fulfilled, the customer is willing to buy and they have the capacity to buy. But in the case of an e-commerce transaction, they must have a good quality or operating quality debit card or credit card or electronic check. If there is no debit card and credit card, they does not make an electronic payment. So, the customer here in the online payment system, the customer hold a payment card such as a credit card or debit card from an issuer. The issuer means a legal financial institution. Okay, some locally the banks, different nationalized banks or scheduled banks issue the debit card and credit card to their customers. The customers for the e-commerce transaction, they utilize the legal card, which is either the debit card or credit card or Visa card or Rupee card, etc. Okay. So, that is the first important participant. The second one, the issuer. Who is the issuer? That is any legal financial institution. The issuer means any financial institution such as bank that provides the customer with a payment card. The financial institution, there must be different types of customers for their operation, that is giving the fund and withdrawing the fund. They must use or they must issue a debit card or credit card or Visa card or Rupee card, which is the organization framework. The customers can utilize the issuing card for depositing and withdrawing the fund and using for the e-commerce purchase. So, here the issuer means any financial institution which are legally organized and they must be issued to the customers different types of cards for using the electronic payment. The issuer is responsible for the cardholder's debt system. The debt payments of the cardholder, it is to be entrusted by the financial institution which gives that particular card to their customers. That is an important one. So, second participant, that is the issuer. And the third one, that is the merchant who makes the e-commerce business. The person or organization that sells goods or service to a cardholder via website is the merchant. So here, what is the meaning of merchant in the participant in the case of an online payment system? The merchant makes an electronic transaction or e-commerce business. They ready to give goods or service to a cardholder via website which is designed or made by the merchant. That is the meaning of merchant in the case of a online payment system. The merchant must accept the payment cards, must have an internet merchant account with the acquirer. Acquirer, next participant is the acquirer. So, the acquirer gives any card or any financial instrument must be accepted by the merchant. Okay. Next participant, that is the fourth participant, that is the acquirer. Who is the acquirer? We already discussed at the time of discussing the merchant, a merchant account with an acquirer. So, who is an acquirer? Acquirer is a person or a company that acquires something, that is the acquirer. Please note, the acquirer means any person or any company that acquires something, that is known as an acquirer. Here, the acquirer is a financial institution that establishes an account with a merchant and process payment card authorizations and payments. That is here in the online payment system, the acquirer. Please mark, acquirer is any financial institution that establishes an account with a merchant. He is an authorized person of a merchant. When a customer pays a fund to the merchant, then the acquirer is dealing or processing the fund into monetary terms. That person is an acquirer. Okay, it is a representative or he is an accountant of a merchant banker. Okay, merchant e-commerce business done by the e-commerce business. So, the acquirer provides authorization to the merchant that given card account is active and that the proposed purchase does not exceed the customer's credit limit. That is, if the customer pay the amount or transfer the payment through any financial instrument, the acquirer make the process of fund transferring into monetary terms for or on behalf of a merchant. So, the acquirer provides authorization to the merchant that given card account to active. The authorized account which is given by the acquirer is utilized by the merchant. That the proposed purchase does not exceed the customer's credit limit. Okay. The acquirer also provides electronic transfer of payment to the merchant's account and is then reimbursed by the issuer via the transfer of electronic funds over a payment network. That is the function of an acquirer. So, what is the function of an acquirer on behalf of a merchant? They provide electronic transfer of payments to the merchant's account, and if there is any reimbursement money to the customer or the issuer via the transfer of electronic fund, it is made by the acquirer. So, acquirer is a person or a company that acquires something like a financial instrument doing the functions related to the merchant for collecting the fund and processing and transferring into a monetary terms. Then the fifth participant, that is the payment gateway. What is the meaning of a payment gateway? It is an e-commerce application service provider, service that authorizes payments for e-business, online shopping, etc. So, here the payment gateway means it is an e-commerce application. The application service provider is the payment gateway. It is a server, like doing the functions like a server. Service provider, which service they give, they authorizes payments for e-business or online shopping, etc. That is the main function of the payment gateway. It is the function operated by the third party provider or process merchant payments by providing an interface between the merchant and the acquirer financial system. That is an important duty. So, it is the payment gateway is a third person. It deals with the merchant and the acquirer. They provide or service done through the payment gateway. Payment gateway protects credit cards details by encrypting sensitive information such as credit card numbers to ensure that information passes securely between the customer and the merchant, and also between merchant and payment processor. So, in the payment gateway, what is the main function of the payment gateway? The payment gateway is a third party participant. They will give protection or security to the customers and the merchants. What is they secure, or what is the factors to be protected by the gateway, payment gateway? That is give the encryptive sensitive informations like the ATM card numbers, PIN card numbers, etc. It is to be protected by the payment gateway. Give security and protection to the merchant and the customers from the hackers. They does not collect, the hackers does not collect or interfere with the financial background of the customer and the merchant. If there is no protection or security given by the payment gateway or the merchant or the supporter, it will give a bad feedback to the customers. It will affect the demand of the product. So, the payment gateway is an important participant, and the last one, that is the processor. Who is the processor? That is a data sender which collects or serves or maintain all the data collected in the website. That is the processor. So, the processor is a large data center that processes credit card transactions and settle funds to merchants and connected to the merchant on behalf of an acquirer via payment gateway. So, the merchant and the acquirer, they will connect through the payment gateway. It will be processed by the processor. Okay. So, the last participant makes or maintain the data related to the processing of the fund transfer, that likes the credit card transaction and settle funds of the merchants connected to the merchant on behalf of an acquirer. Acquirer is an intermediary financial institution via a payment gateway. Payment gateway is the processing unit. So, these are the important participants. What are the participants are involved in the online payment, which already discussed? First one, the customer, then the issuer, merchant, acquirer, payment gateway and the processor. Okay. So, we already discussed the participants also. Next one, we must discuss at the time of the participants. We know that there is a processing. At the time of first we make a web design, and it will give advertisement to the customers to attract the customers, and if they have ready or interest or attracted by the product features, they will enter into a business transaction by giving a order. After that, they must have the capacity to pay. At that time is give a purchase order. After the purchase order, the customer will pay the fund to the seller, and then the seller transfers the product to the customers. That is the process. Okay. So, in the online payment, what are the basic steps involved in the online payment? There are 6 steps involved in the online payment. First of all, that is the step 1, the customer places an order online by selecting items from the merchant's website and sending the merchant a list. That is the first step. The customer wants a product, then they search the different website. which merchant is attracted or which product is attracted by the customer, then the customer give an order, purchase order to that particular merchant. That is the first step. So, the customer places an order through an online system, selecting an item and selecting a particular merchant through the website. That is the first step. And the second one, the buyer submits a payment request. Buyer gives a payment request through his cell phone or computer or mobile to the seller. That is the second step. And the third one, the service provider, that is the seller or the agent or the intermediary, routes the data via the secure connection to the buyer's bank or credit card company. That is, the intermediary, like the payment gateway or the acquirer, gives a service provider routes to get or transfer the fund. And the fourth one, the buyer's bank either approves or declines the transaction based on the buyer's available fund or credit. If a customer use their debit card or credit card or Visa card or anything, then an approval is taken before giving a transaction by the instrument, the financial institution which gives that particular card. That is a digital financial instrument. After getting the approval of that particular institution, we must process the fund transfer. So, the buyer's bank either approves or declines the transaction based on the buyer's available fund or credit. They must give important details like the account or the PIN number or OTP number, like that. After that, they verify and check as it is correct and they have a available balance for that particular transaction. The financial institution will give an approval, either they decline the procedure. Then, if approved, the transaction is routed back to the payment provider to be processed. That is the fourth step. And fifth step, the payment provider stores the transaction and sends a record to both the seller and buyer. If the payment transaction is already correct and go to a correct route, then they will give an information to the buyer and seller. The buyer and seller get an instruction from the financial instrument to continue the process. That is the fifth step. And the last step, the goods or service are sent to the buyer and the buyer's bank sends the fund to the seller. After getting the monetary fund from the buyer to the seller, then the seller must give or transport or deliver the product to the buyer. After that, if the buyer get the product which is ordered at the time of first step and satisfy the product by the customer, then the customer's bank will give the amount to the merchant or the seller. So, these are the steps included in the online payment. There are 6 steps. First of all, the customer give a payment or give a purchase order. Second one, then the buyer submits a payment request, and third one, service provider gives a route of data for transferring the payment. Fourth one, buyer's bank approves or decline the payment procedure, and the fifth one, the payment provider is give an green signal, then will give a message to the buyer and the seller. And the last one, the seller must transport or deliver the product to the buyer, and the buyer's bank will deliver the fund to the seller. So, these are the procedure included in the online payment. There are 2 different systems involved in the online payment. What are they? Prepaid and postpaid system. Prepaid, I think already know about the prepaid and postpaid words. Okay. So, in the prepaid debit card and the prepaid credit card are the 2 systems involved in the prepaid payment. We must use prepaid debit card or prepaid credit card. So, prepaid debit card refers to the payment mode in advance and services are availed afterwards. That is an important factor in the case of prepaid. We must give the payment in advance. After getting the advance money, they will give their service to the person who sent or who paid the amount. That is a prepaid payment system. So, prepaid payment system provides a service that is paid for prior to usage. In the case of prepaid payment system, a customer is allowed to spend an amount that is equal to the cost of the product only up to the amount that have pre-deposited into the account. Which is the amount deposited by the user, that amount, for that particular amount they will give the service or goods. This type of payment system is highly useful to those customers who would like to control overspending. The nature of different persons have different natures. So, they have the tendency to overspending. Their habit is to spend over than their income. They must have a control to the or get a budget to their income. For that particular case, they must use the pre-deposit scheme or prepaid system. So, it will lead to control their overspending habit. Okay. Prepaid debit cards or prepaid credit cards are good examples for this type of payment system. I already discussed prepaid payment system. There are two methods, that is prepaid debit card or prepaid credit card. Many customers prefer prepaid because it offers improved budget controls, access and flexibility while not requiring deposits or constraining contracts. That is the important benefits or the features of this prepaid system. What are they? It improves the budget controls, that is it can control the overspending, and accessibility and flexibility is an important merit of this prepaid system. Then the prepaid system is used by the customer by depositing money with a credit giving company. That is an important merit also. It can be deposited in the SBA account and current account. What is the difference between SBA account and current account? The SBA account and current account is same nature, but SBA account, that is savings bank account, is opened by the individuals, but the current account is open or operated by the firms, companies or artificial persons. So, in the case of say SBA account, there is small amount of interest will be earned by the depositors, but in the case of current account, they does not get any interest for their deposit. But the current account, it is operated by different business organization. They can make many transactions daily or weekly, but there is some types of restrictions in the case of SBA account, that is about the deposit and withdrawal and the number of withdrawals, etc. So, we does not go through in large discussion about the SBA account and current account. It is to the BCom students. So, once the money deposited and the card is used as regular credit card, once the money exhausts in the account, if there is no fund in the account, the card cannot be used. If you have 5,000 rupees in your account, you can withdraw or you can purchase, in the case of an SBA account, for up to 4,000 rupees. 1,000 is the money to be deposited in all time in your bank account. So, what is the money in your account, that is only to be used by the customers. It is comparable to a debit card. This card is good for prepare for bad credit history. That is an important benefit. The prepaid credit card gives all the advantages of a normal credit card without worrying about the interest charges. While we using the credit card, the institution, the financial institution must give an advance or a type of loan to the customers. They can withdraw or they can avail an amount which is higher than what is the amount in their account. That is an important factor in the credit card. That is also a difference between a debit card and credit card. In the case of debit card, we must use what is the actual amount deposited in your account, but in the case of a credit card, they can the depositor can utilize a high amount than the amount in their account. That is a type of loan given to the customers by the financial institution. Okay. So, in the summary, what are the benefits of the prepaid payment system? It is accepted to all merchant establishments worldwide according to the affiliation of the credit giving company. That is an first benefit we already discussed, and second one, he withdraw the cash at ATMs. Then reloadable at any time anywhere, that we can deposit the amount at any time from any by using any ATMs. It can be used to withdraw cash in any international currency by foreign currency or Indian currency. It is usually backed up by the personal accident insurance cover. The financial institution give the insurance facility to the card holders. The customer has the facility to get online and track spending, check balance, change PIN, etc. by using an ATMs. Okay. That is by using the teller machines. So, these are the benefits which we will get by the prepaid payment system. Okay. Next one, that is postpaid payment, that is after getting the service we give the money. That is the difference between prepaid and the postpaid. In the case of prepaid, first we will give the fund, then we will get the service. But in the case of postpaid service, first we will get the service and then we will pay the amount. That is the difference between, main difference between prepaid system and the postpaid system. So, in the case of postpaid refers to a system where the service are availed first and thereafter pay the price for it. The postpaid payment system is like a credit card used to make a purchase through a website. That is an important character of the postpaid. It is like a credit card. Okay. Normally, all credit cards are postpaid cards. All credit cards that is equal to postpaid cards. We will get the service and after that we pay. That is the already discussed at the time of while using the credit card. If there is no balance or there is any shortage in your account, the financial institution must give fund to the customer in advance. That is a type of loan. So, a credit card is equal to the postcard. The customer gets the eligibility of spending through the income statement and credit history produced before the credit card company. What is the base of the financial institutions give the credit card to the customers? That is depending upon the financial soundness of the customers. If the person or if the customer or the depositor is not financially sound, they does not give the credit card to the particular customer. If they are financially sound customers, for the financially sound customers, the financial institutions must give a credit card. Either they will give only a debit card to the deposit holders. Okay. The customer gets a credit limit and credit period by which the customer is supposed to pay back the money to the credit card company. So, there is a limit to avail the fund which is more than their balance, and the repayment is given in a particular installments or will give a particular period to recollect the fund which is advanced by the financial institutions. And what are the features included in the postpaid system? That is an important one. There are 8 features. First one, global acceptance. It must be acceptable by all the users or the participants like the merchants and the users. So, all merchants establishment according to their network set by the credit card company to accept these postpaid credit cards. Second one, balance transfer options. That is, if there is any fund get any excess amount, it will be transferred to the particular person. It is possible to transfer outstanding fund from one card to the other card with a low interest rate. That is an important factor of the postpaid system. Next one, revolver facility. That is, what is the meaning of revolver facility? Only a small amount of the total outstanding and revolve the rest for payment to the next month. That is a revolver facility. A customer can pay only a small amount of the total outstanding and the balance to be revolved to the next month. That is an important one. Next one, the cash advance facility, that is already discussed. Withdraw around 30% of the credit limit at any ATM connected to the credit card company. So, the financial institution must give 30% of the credit limit to the persons who hold the credit card. Then what are the other services? It can be used for booking the railway tickets or airline tickets, etc. Then what is the convenience? Postpaid instruments are convenient for the customer. For the customer, it is easy not to carry cash for any purchase. That is an important advantage or benefit of the customer who hold a credit card. Next one, easy availability. The holder can load prepaid credit cards anytime they need. That is, these are the important features. What are they? Global acceptance, balance transfer operation, revolver facility, cash advance facility, other service, convenience and easy availability. So, I conclude today's topic. I will discuss only about the online payment system. First of all, I give a definition about the online payment, then the different features of online payment system. Then I already discussed the participants, who are the participants involved in the online payment system, and give an explanation about the procedure of online payment and detailed explanation given to the two systems which are involved in the online payment, that is prepaid and postpaid. Okay, thank you.